everyone left with a full belly and filled spirit. So I am thankful for that. And I know that everyone here is. We have many things to be thankful for on the Easter season. But now we're back to work. And let's go ahead and begin with the word of prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee again for all these servants here doing Your will for the citizens of Jefferson County. Dear Lord, we ask that You touch each commissioner. Give them the wisdom, the strength, the courage, and the guidance to make the correct decisions for the citizens of Jefferson County. And we ask that You touch these staff members and give them the tools to carry out that mission. Dear Lord, we ask that You be with our county manager and his staff, his assistant county managers, and give them the understanding, the wisdom, and the peace to do Your will. Dear Lord, we're here for You. Turn us into Your instruments of working and make sure that everything is done according to Your will. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Sheila?
Good morning, Commissioners. Community Development and Health Services. I'm going to go all the way down to the Department of Community Services, Dr. Hamilton.
Good morning, Commissioner. We have 9 items this morning. Number 1 and 2 are both Cornerdale and Pleasant Grove Storm Shelter for the $11,000 that you are allocated to the storm shelters. Number 3 and number 4 deal with the FY 2024 bill initiated grant with the department, with the DA's office. This is an acknowledgement only. Number 4 is agreement that authorizes us to assist with the administration of that program in an amount of $838,947. Number 5 is the Jefferson County Housing Authority. This is for playground equipment. This will be for $100,000 for the installation of of the playground equipment at various locations. Number 6 is First Light. We're using our CDBG Public Services Funds to assist them with essential services and operations in the amount of $27,921. Number 7 is with One Roof for the coordinated entry system. We're also using our CDBG Public Services Funds in the amount of $49,158. Number 8 is a lien release from Mrs. Shepherd. She paid us back in full. And also number 9 is a lien release for Shonda Robinson for $24,440 that she's paid us back.
I get a motion on the floor.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second. Doc, I'd like to, you can get an itemization where that money in number 5 is going.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Get a breakdown of where that money in number 5 is going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
It's been first and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that item, those item 9 items passed. We're going to youth detention, Monique. Am I still? Good morning.
Youth detention has 4 items on the agenda. Number 1, the professional services contract with LLR Consulting Services. It is for us to have an education coordinator in place for our education services in partnership with our LEA, which is Birmingham City Schools. Number 2 is to upgrade the software system and customize the medical section of our Right Track software development system. Number 3 is a cooperative agreement with Children's Hospital of Alabama for the CHIPS program. It is required to bring us into compliance or to maintain our compliance PREA standards, and also number 4 for the crisis center, and it is also to keep us in compliance with PREA, the federal.
Can I get a second? The first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All right, and Ms. Gill, you're doing a great job. I ran into 2 of the youth that came through there, and they are working for a plumbing company over on the southwest side.
Thank you.
I have a presentation from One Place Family Justice
Madam
Center.
Chair, just a moment. I have a question for you.
I had to.
You did too? So, the gentleman that this situation I'm calling it a situation, right? I would be very interested in knowing, because he lived over there near where I live, right? This is the county employee that was murdered the other day. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. So, are you all planning to do anything in his honor, his memory, anything?
Commissioners, currently, and with the support of the county manager's office and HR, we have behavioral health services all week over at detention to support the staff. We have premier mental health services there, and Dr. Demetrio French to work with the youth and to provide services and support for them. As you know, we have to cover the various shifts, and so not everyone has returned to work since this happened. His shift will return to work on Wednesday, and they are struggling. There was another county employee who was present during the situation.
That's right.
And so.
You talking about the relative?
No, not the relative.
Non-relative.
Non-relative. JL was there as well. And so they're struggling.
And the reason why I'm asking too very quickly is because I know that it's children, right? And so I just wanted to kind of see where we're going, because I'm going to work with the schools in the area as relates to the children, since the children were present. So just wanted to make sure that you know that we send hugs and love in that direction. And so, yeah, I concur. You're doing a good job. Thank you.
This gentleman was with us for 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He also worked with environmental services before coming to detention. He had been with us at youth detention for several
Young
years.
man.
Awesome officer. Very dependable. Warm, friendly personality. The youth loved him. And so he'll be great.
Are you all providing any counseling for your staff?
Yes. HR has behavioral health services over
Okay.
with us, even right now. They're there.
Okay. You heard that, Kat? Okay. All right. Because one thing that I know from dealing with this several times is that a lot of times we think about the children and we don't think about the emotional and mental toll that it takes on the adults, which is the reason why I was asking. So thank you.
Thank you. And we're still going to have a memorial wreath meetup for him, and so we're having that put together now. We'll display it in the lobby.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
And
Thank
you
you.
as the director over there, I know it's hard on you too, so thank you for what you do and how you're dealing with it. It's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead on and move my community grant for Project Hopewell, and then I'll come back and do the,
I'll move it for you.
Second.
then first and second, my item 2 of my discretionary fund. It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now I have a presentation from One Place Family Justice Center. If you can come up. Okay, there you go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Commissioner Tyson, for inviting me to speak today. My name is Rebecca Williams, and I'm the Executive Director of One Place Family Justice Center. We are a family justice center that is here to provide coordinated services for domestic and sexual violence. And our main focus is providing a coordinated community response to domestic violence in Jefferson County. So what I'm going to do today is to share with you the state of domestic violence in Jefferson County and how it's impacting your communities, and what One Place does to mitigate the effects of domestic violence, to serve survivors, to reduce domestic violence homicides, and to coordinate with law enforcement and prosecution to address domestic violence. The first thing I want to do is start in a little bit of grounding. The first thing is, in every room that I'm in, statistically, I know that there is someone in this room who has either personally experienced domestic violence or you know someone who has. So no matter where we go, we know that that's the case. So I just want to let you know that I see you and I hear you. The second thing I want to do before I start getting into statistics is a grounding in our mission. And I want to acknowledge that domestic violence affects everybody, men and women, does not discriminate against socioeconomic status or race. But for the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to use the pronoun of she to refer to a victim. So if you could just go back for a minute, Helen. Oh, thank you. No, that's fine, that's fine. You all have probably heard someone say, why doesn't she just leave? If it's that bad, why doesn't she just leave? There's a lot of reasons. And one of the most important ones for people to know is that leaving is actually the most dangerous time. That 70% of DV homicides occur when the victim is preparing to leave or has recently left. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all the reasons that it's hard to leave, but they're up on the screen, and I also have handouts that you can have after I'm done. So what we're doing at One Place, we're changing the narrative, and we want our community to join us in changing the narrative. So instead of, why don't they just leave? The question is, why does the abuser continue to engage in abusive behavior that is harmful? Why won't they stop? And then the bigger question is, what are we doing as a community to create systems and laws that help survivors escape safely and rebuild their lives? In domestic violence, it is not just leaving, it is escaping. And that's where the Family Justice Center comes into play. At One Place, we are affiliated with the Alliance for Hope International, which runs the Family Justice Center Alliance. Family Justice Centers have been established for 25 years, first started in San Diego by a prosecutor who saw the need to provide coordinated collaborative services for victims of domestic violence in order to improve the rate of domestic violence homicides and to see better outcomes for survivors. There are 150 centers in the country, and we are recognized by the Department of Justice as a best practice in performing a coordinated community response to domestic violence. Some of the outcomes that you see in communities where there are family justice centers is a reduction in domestic violence when you compare it to the national average, where DV homicides are going up. You see it going down in communities where there are family justice centers, and Jefferson County is not an exception. So One Place, we provide coordinated services under one roof. We are located in the Avondale community. We began our work here in 2014 and became a 501c3 in 2015. We are the third family justice center in the state of Alabama. The first was in Montgomery, which is funded primarily through the district attorney's office. And the second is in the Shoals, which is also funded through the district attorney's office. We are a private 501c3 nonprofit. Our mission is to provide coordinated service to victims, survivors of domestic and sexual violence through a multidisciplinary team of professionals working together under one roof. Our vision is that we will create a community where survivors experience hope, healing, and justice. And I'm really proud to say that if a survivor walks through our doors, we are very successful at helping to provide that experience for them. We have a lot of partners, both on-site and off-site. One of our strongest partners is District Attorney Danny Carr, who has developed a domestic violence high-risk team that is placed at One Place. And they work in coordination with us to identify high-risk offenders who are at risk for committing serious DV crimes, and also to coordinate with us when we identify a high-risk victim to work together to hold that offender accountable. We, in fact, later today, if you go back for just a minute, on our partners, you'll see BPD. We have Chief Pickett coming today at 1 o'clock, now that he is installed as the new chief, to talk about Birmingham and what they are experiencing with domestic violence and how we can work together. We also have a great relationship with the U.S. Attorney's Office, who has someone on site looking at domestic violence from a federal nexus. When I talk about domestic violence in Jefferson County, I say every time it is a public health crisis in Jefferson County. Annually, we are seeing 12,000 to 14,000 calls for service alone in the county, and that is only from the big, what we call the big three, that are where we're able to collect data. So that's Birmingham, Hoover, and any area that the sheriff's office responds to. That is not including any of the smaller municipalities, because we do not have a coordinated system for reporting this data. So that's just in those big three districts. We see on average 1,100 to 1,200 protection from abuse orders issued annually. This year, as of last night, we've had 420 petitions filed, and of those, 329 have been called by a judge to issue an emergency order because of the dangerous situation that these victims are in. When we're looking at just what the Birmingham division with Danny Carr's office is looking at, this is not the Bessemer division. They are getting 400 plus DV felonies a year, and they're also responding to about 400 misdemeanors, DV misdemeanors, that they're getting from unincorporated Jefferson County. Birmingham Municipal Court, Joe Baskier, I asked him, how many DV misdemeanors are you seeing a month? In court, 75 in 1 month. DV strangulations, in the month of August, there was 23 DV strangulations in Birmingham City alone, which is a felony. Unfortunately, it's often pled down to a misdemeanor, and the offender sees no time. And that's just Birmingham City. When I asked the sergeant for Special Victims Unit for BPD, how many strangulations are you seeing a week? She said on average 7 to 10. When I asked the same of Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, they said 3 to 4. Again, those are just two divisions that we're seeing, 2 municipalities. DV homicides in 2024, we had 28. That's actually good compared to where we've been. And we're really happy and proud to be able to say that we're seeing a downward trend in DV homicides since the start of One Place coordinating with Danny Carr's team and the existence of the DV high-risk team. And one thing I want to point out is that this is just the people that are reporting. We know that domestic violence is severely underreported due to fear and shame and people feeling like there's no way out. And Commissioner Knight in North Jefferson County, we know that in conversations that I've been having with the Warrior Police Chief is that he knows it's everywhere, that it's pervasive, but people are not reporting and they're not asking for help because they don't know where to go. One thing that we also knew through our partnership with Danny Carr's office is through research that they've conducted is that domestic violence is community violence. And that 74% of all known homicide offenders, so we knew who the offender was, they killed anybody, not just a partner, anybody in the community. 74% of them had a history of domestic violence on their record before they committed that homicide. So the people that are committing homicide in our community are the same people that are committing these DV misdemeanors that are not being held accountable at the misdemeanor and even felony level. Some more stats for you to know. I talk about strangulation. Strangulation is pervasive in domestic violence. At one place, we see multiple strangulation victims a week. Nearly everybody reports that their abuser has used strangulation as a tactic to abuse them. what we know through national statistics is that if you experience strangulation in an abusive relationship, your risk of eventually being killed by that abuser has increased by 750%. We also know that if there's a firearm in the home where there's abuse, there's also a 500% increased risk of homicide. Then we have the numbers that are hard to quantify. How much does it cost? What is it costing our community to have such pervasive domestic violence issues? Both through law enforcement response, people missing work, the impact is significant. And then we get to the children. And if you go to the next slide, on the impact of children, we know that being exposed to domestic violence as a child is the single greatest predictor that you will become a victim or a perpetrator as an adult. So the cycle continues. So what are we doing at One Place to address this work? We are providing direct victim advocacy and a coordinated response to the victims we are serving by coordinating with our law enforcement and prosecution, as well as other victim service agencies and partners in the community. We are getting out into the community to bring awareness to the situation, and also to work on working with all of our law enforcement municipalities on best practices in domestic violence. For instance, we recently met with a municipality who did not know that you could charge a strangulation as a felony if they can't breathe. So this municipality thought that in order to charge them with a DV felony strangulation, the victim had to have not been able to breathe.
Was that in Jefferson County?
Yes, sir. It was in Jefferson County. And thankfully, because of how we work at One Place, we had our deputy district attorney who leads the DV high-risk team in that meeting with us, who was able to share that it's actually intent. You do not have to not be able to breathe. All you need is the hands around the neck, and that is the intent, and that is enough for a felony charge. So with as many municipalities and law enforcement agencies as we have in this county, we need to be doing a lot of outreach and education to bring in all of our municipalities, all of our magistrates, all of our law enforcement to understand how we can best respond to domestic violence so that we're serving victims, providing them with safety and justice, and holding our offenders accountable. We're doing a lot of work in systems change. Something I would like to come back to the Commission to talk about another time is the work we're doing on our Firearms Technical Assistance Project, which is a project that we're doing in conjunction with the Department of Justice. And that is looking at how can we improve firearms relinquishment when the offender has a protection from an abuse order against them or a DV charge. We do not currently have a lot of systems in place to really hold people accountable and to that law. And we are working very closely with the courts and with the Sheriff's Office to look at how can we improve service rate of protection orders and relinquishment systems where courts are able to hold offenders accountable. Finally, we run a program called Camp Hope, which is for children who have been exposed to domestic violence or experienced other forms of abuse. And that is an intent with our hope to reduce the cycle of intergenerational violence by working with children starting at a young age. So there's a lot that we're doing. I'm not going to read through everything here, but one thing I want to point out is our coordination with law enforcement and prosecution and how we are identifying our high-risk victims through a danger assessment that we conduct on every single victim that comes through our doors to scale the level of danger that they are in so that they don't walk out of our facility without understanding the danger that they are in, and that we have an understanding of what sort of danger they are in so that we can work with the proper partners to address their safety. And the one thing I wanted to point out at the very end was that we provide a trauma-informed, survivor-centered experience and space. And what we know is that if a victim has an advocate that is walking alongside them and helping to coordinate everything that's happening with their situation, whether it's a someone who needs help, we know that they are more likely to stay engaged in the system if they have an advocate walking alongside them. And if victims stay engaged in the system, we're better able to hold offenders accountable. So I want to bring it back home to each of your districts. District 1 in Norwood. We have just yesterday a woman that there was an attempted murder charge on her, and she has been living in a gas station, working there for free, sleeping on a couch, no shower, eating snacks for her meals. Her abuser is in jail for this attempted homicide, but she's terrified of him. And the judge told the DA, if she doesn't show up in court, she will drop the charges and he's going to be released from jail. So the district attorney came to us. We got in touch with her, our director of victim services, established a relationship with her, provided things that she needed in order to feel safe coming to court, including an escort from the DA's office. And she came to court yesterday. So that now we're able to support her along this journey of holding this man accountable, because if he gets out, he will get her. She scored the highest on our lethality score that we've had this year. Our highest lethality score that we had last year is a case that borders the Blount County line in Warrior, and I've been working with Chief Prater on that case. So this year alone, as of April 21st, we have seen 100 unique clients served by one place staff, and that is a staff of 2 people, a victim services director and a navigator. We need more people. We've had 341 units of service for at least 100 people here to date. As I said, our highest, if you could go back for just a moment. Our highest lethality score was 38. And 18 is a score that's considered to be an extreme danger. As I mentioned, strangulation is pervasive. So we talked about District 1 and Brittany, who's in Norwood. In District 2, we have a woman who was in an abusive relationship for 10 years. Multiple strangulations, multiple violent homicides, drug use that the abuser was forcing her to take drugs as a way to control her. She finally had a very violent incident. Birmingham police got involved. Birmingham police, Sergeant Heather Campbell told her, please call one place. They can help you. We're now working with her and supporting her. We've successfully filed a protection order. He's in jail, she's safe, and she's engaged in the system, and calling our Director of Victim Services to check in and let her know how she's doing. In District 3, we had a victim from McCullough that we helped flee across the country. We paid for her to flee across the country because she felt so unsafe. She's now back in McCullough and is trying to rebuild her life and work with, and we are coordinating with the Bessemer District Attorney on that case. She called us the other day and said, I just wanted to let you know I would not be alive if it weren't for you, because you believed me, and you were the catalyst to have other people believe me too. We have another woman in Bessemer who was held captive for days in her camper by her husband, who she had bonded out on DV charges a few days before. We were in constant communication with Mike Wood, the former Bessemer police chief, about this case, and coordinated with him after she had been kidnapped and was able to be free to make sure that he would not be released on bond until they could revoke his bond from a previous charge. That would not have happened without the coordination that we were able to do with the Bessemer police chief. District 4, in Pinson, there is another woman who was held captive by her abuser for days, strangled, hit and ran over the head, came to one place. We've been providing coordinated services for her on that case as well, helping to keep her safe. 5 in Homewood, we have a woman who is trying so hard to escape. And thankfully we have a lot of support from Homewood police who have been supporting her and now are even she works late at night. They're even waiting for her at the entrance to her apartment complex to escort her home to make sure that he's not there waiting for her. There's a protection order that he has against her that Homewood Police, and we were very fortunate to have a relationship with Homewood Police to coordinate on that case and to raise it to their attention of the danger that we believe that she's in. So commissioners, this is happening in your communities. The people in your communities are suffering from this, and it is here. It is here, it is your constituents. So my call to action for you is to be aware, to be engaged, and to work with One Place to address this in the coordinated way that it needs to be addressed so that we can help survivors find safety, hold our offenders accountable, and continue to improve our family life and the safety of our children and women in our community. So I look forward to partnering with you all in the future on this issue.
Thank you so much. And I know this is an uncomfortable conversation, but it is happening. I wouldn't, and you know, I know this is sensitive to you, Monique, and if I had knew that, I wouldn't have, you know. And it is so needed because I'm getting more calls, and I don't know what to say to the victims because I have never experienced that. And all I could think about is what I can do to help. And I talked to you about it, Jimmy, about this. So I got her to come to where she can explain it to y'all better than I can. But it is happening, and we're getting calls. And I don't know these people. And they are calling and asking for help. And all I can do is tell them to call her or the sheriff or somebody like that. But I just wanted us to be aware of it and to try to help. One Place Families Justice Center where they can reach out and help more people. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Okay. Do y'all have, at One Place, if there's a situation, do you all have a place at One Place where a victim can go and be at your place and be safe, or how do you do that?
One Place is not a shelter. The
That's what I was
YWCA
asking.
is the only shelter for the Jefferson County, Blount County, and St. Clair County. It's one shelter, 36 beds. So that's another issue. At One Place, we are not trying to have a shelter, but we do need more shelter beds in our community. But what we would do when we have someone who is not safe, we coordinate. The YWCA is a partner of ours. We have a good relationship with them where we will refer them for shelter and then continue to advocate and case manage with them while they're in shelter. If the shelter is full, or we put people up in hotels with the funds that we get from private funders just to keep them safe if it's an immediate situation. But then once you go into shelter, then where do you go from there? And there's just a lot of support that survivors need to be able to rebuild their lives upon leaving shelter.
And how many employees do you all have?
We have currently 5 full-time, just hired 6. Because we're of all these other work system changes that we're doing a lot of work on our Camp Hope side. We have a navigator who's working with our Camp Hope families to provide navigation to them and financial aid, because we recognize that in order for these children who have been exposed to violence and domestic violence and suffered abuse themselves, in order for them to be on a path that is not headed towards abuse or violence, their caregivers, who are mostly which are single females, need to be stable and secure. But on our victim advocacy side, we currently have 2. And that we are hoping to get a federal grant that can provide 1 more for us, another advocate. But when we're talking about what do we need to serve our entire county, Lenise Washington is always asking the DA of the Bessemer Division, can you please get somebody out here? Scott Prater from Warrior asking me, we need people people in these rural areas. So we know that in order to do the work that we need to do to be most effective, we need to greatly expand our advocacy team.
Let me ask you this, and then I'll be done. Is Camp Hope a place or is it a concept?
It's a concept. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we are affiliated with the Alliance for Hope International. And they run multiple programs, one of which is the Family Justice Center Alliance. They also run Camp Hope. So we follow their curriculum, and it's a year-round program with monthly activities and a week-long summer camp that we partner with the YMCA Camp Cosby to take our kids to a sleepover summer camp. And that's for kids ages 7 to 17.
Let me ask this question. Tell me how you all are strengthening your efforts with these victims in terms of with law enforcement intervention. I actually can't relate to it. That's why I've been sitting here just real quiet. So I had a relative to be killed that way. And Sue Bell Cobb at the time was on the Supreme Court. And my question is, how are you all strengthening, or is that one of the missions of what you do? I noticed that you had several law enforcement agencies that you're working with, and where I'm going with it is that when you know that the potential is there, and the person makes you aware that, hey, this person is having some mental issues that could lead to some problems. What are you doing to kind of bridge the gap there so that they can be able to intervene before it becomes deadly?
For law enforcement to do that.
Uh-huh.
So, first of all, we have to have permission from the victim to coordinate with law enforcement. But I could give you an example of someone who it was also in your district. And she was her husband, ex-husband, was just harassing her. He had set their porch on fire. He was doing all of these things, stealing cars. A common tactic is also to destroy people's cars because then they have no way of getting to work.
He had no transportation.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also going to their work. This woman had also lost her job because he'd gone to her work and talked to her at work and threatened her coworkers. So she had no job and no car. But all of the things that he was doing was were being charged or written up as misdemeanors.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked with Sergeant Campbell and brought it to her attention that this is what's going on. She's aware of it. We're talking about how, she says, I need to start working on how we can build a case to make this a felony. And because so many misdemeanors can make a felony, she had to make a case for him lighting the porch on fire and then also pouring gasoline all over their mattresses as to make a case for arson, which is also a felony. So we're in constant communication. And at that time, he was on the loose. And so we knew she wasn't safe. So we put her up in a hotel while Sergeant Campbell was trying to find him, to locate him. And eventually, she went into shelter because it was taking too long to find him. So, but all during that time, we're just in constant communication on the case. Another example would be, we had a woman who had come to us. I actually did a news interview, and it aired at 4 o'clock on a Friday. And they aired live from one place. So we saw them stop filming and put up their equipment and out the window. And 30 seconds later, our phone rang. And it was a woman who just seen us on TV and said, this is the sign, I need help. And it was an ex-boyfriend who there was cases on him in Birmingham City, which he'd also done stuff to her in Gardendale. And there was reports in Gardendale, but because the municipalities don't talk to each other and there's no shared system, municipal court didn't know about what had happened in Gardendale. So she gave us permission to contact Joe Bass them know, hey, this is the offender. He's got these reports here, these cases here, but this also happened in Gardendale. So can you contact Gardendale to get that report to help build your case? So we are doing the best we can to keep law enforcement engaged. Part of that work is, though, having relationships with all of our law enforcement agencies so that we can do that work. And we're really, it's like a texting, personal texting basis, just constant communication. And that's one of the things that we want to do, is to really grow our high-risk task force so that we have a system with our prosecution and our magistrates and law enforcement when we're identifying these people that we see as very high risk, that we have the system in place. But then what we have to do is make sure that our laws are supporting that work. And we see so often people are bonding out within hours and without not even giving the victim time to try to find safety.
I mean, you answered it, because as you were talking, it just sounds to me that it needs to be something done on a state level. And, yeah, because, the situation I'm talking about, like so many others, was avoidable. I mean, especially when you have children and you recognize that there's danger, you say it, and then the person comes back and kill you and shoot your kid in the process. So I understand. But that's above your program. That's what I'm saying.
It's not, in the sense that our vision as an organization is that we need to be driving this conversation. If we're not driving the conversation, who's talking about
that's
it?
right.
So advocacy at the local and state level is part of what we want to do. I also want to add that we just started doing this model of advocacy less than a year ago. So we're still really new and building our team and seeing really incredible results when we are providing this level of coordination.
Thank you so much for coming out, y'all. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the end of my
District 1, good morning.
Good morning. Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee has a very light agenda. One item under Board of Equalization, which is a resolution acknowledgement, and that's for an employee retirement. And so I think that that's really more for acknowledgement and adoption from us. Also, do we need to do anything with this item other than acknowledge? All right. Environmental, well, he said we didn't need him as president. So we have one item under environmental services, and that's for the Birmingham Race Course, but it's dealing with construction. And so it's piping, wet well security, and site work for 4 pump stations, and 3 in Birmingham and 1 in Gardendale. So do we have any questions as relates to that particular item?
Move it on.
All right, it's been moved. Can I get a second? Unless you have a question, can I get a second?
But
I mean, that's spoken here. You all do need to move that to the agenda, folks. That's their retirement. You need to vote to move that to the agenda.
Okay. All right, so we'll deal with it when I get back. Okay, so we have it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so going back to item number 1 on the
Move.
Board of Equalization. Okay, it's been moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Now, let me ask this question, too. Is this being presented, Cal, by, where is she at? I don't see her. As in terms of our HR?
The retirement?
Yeah, is
Yeah,
it?
we'll have HR and probably Miss Maria and I will be there to give her.
Okay, all right. Because I do want to start knowing about those ahead of time. And so the more we can know, the better we are instead of in the meeting. Okay. All right. So there's one item of new business. This is in regard to animal control. If the body will work with me on this particular
I move for
item,
the consideration of one item on new bid.
what is,
is about the animal control, Greater Birmingham Humane Society.
It's giving the district funds to them, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's been moved and properly seconded. Do we need to do a roll call vote? Okay. Any objections? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to give this to one. It's $5,000, and this is to
It's originating from your office, and I'd like to add 5 to it too.
All right. And,
Great.
yes, sir, thank you. And so the program is designed, it's called Compassion in Action, and it's dealing with students and the promoting of animal cruelty and neglect, and so things that relates to precautions and rehabilitative care is what the programming is. And so if you could look at it.
Is this an event?
No.
It's a
It's a
program that they
program.
have, and it's really geared toward education,
Yep.
and should be very similar to that domestic violence. As if you have if you educate people and you change their expectations, and this is kind of like explaining to the people what happens when you put your dogs out on a chain and things like that. It's good.
All right, so,
I'll move on.
Second.
all right, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, Commissioners.
All right, Administrative and Infrastructure Committee, I have 4 items of intergovernmental agreements, paving agreements, for the various roads. Anyone have any,
Move items 1 through 4.
we have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have engineering services from Thompson Engineering, on-call geotechnical service contract from Thompson Engineering. You want
Move
to
that.
mention that? All right,
Second.
move and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
A property purchase for Meadow Lake Crest Drainage Improvement Project, Bessemer, Shades Valley Transfer Relief Sewer.
Move items 7 through 11.
I have a motion.
Citizen.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Fleet,
Move item 1.
generator installation.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have a question. This is an 18-month contract, and is the generator at the
It's Fleet's generator,
fleet?
yeah.
Fleet, and it generates?
Well,
Generate?
yes, it does.
All right.
In
Okay.
in the event that the regular distribution is not working.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you need to go ahead and call it, Jim? You got a first and second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, got county attorney, we have the minutes from the last meeting, April 10.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
County manager has 2. We have a proclamation, Cal, and the administrative officer of the course of bailiff's salary appropriation. You ever want to speak to either one of them?
Well, the proclamation came from the governor asking y'all to read it. I believe Mr. Tyson agreed to read it Thursday. Is that what you're doing? All right. And then the bailiffs, you all budgeted to pay for the bailiffs for the courts. Typically, they get us an agreement sooner than this. We should have had closer to October, but this was budgeted, and it's just a reimbursement for their salaries.
Move items 1 and 2.
Is it going to continue to increase? I know it's ticking up every year, and it's been over $1 million added since we started this.
They typically have increased
But it should.
some, and
Baby,
then
folks.
3 years ago it increased probably 500,000. It's leveled off the last 2 or 3 years.
These state courts we're talking about,
Yes, sir.
in county bailiffs.
They're actually state employees that we reimburse, and that's what this agenda does. It's an agreement. They send us their payments, and then we reimburse.
Basically, we are doing now civil bailiffs in addition to the criminal bailiffs.
I believe we did pass that. All
I said so.
second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are.
Keep them straight.
Keep it straight. And- All right, District 2, we have 2. We have McDory Fire District. It's a respirator fit testing system.
Move items
Now-
1 and 2.
Second.
Okay.
If there aren't any questions.
All right, I do want to explain the the McAdory. It's for the entire fire district area. Is that each fire department was having to have their respirators tested separately, and it was costing a bunch of money. We found out that McAdory would house the unit and take all of and test all the respirators, and it saved about 3 times this amount of money. So that's the way we're working through that. The community grant for the Arts Council, we have the motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Before I stop, Chris, I have gotten a plea. I won't say it's a complaint. I'm going to say it's a plea from J&J Grocery. They are having difficulty sustaining their business because of the work that's being done there in front. The last call that I got from them was that they were having a hard time getting their deliveries. Their delivery drivers did not want to stop because of the problems that they were having in their parking lot. If there's any way, and they asked me to go out there, and I will, but it seems like it would be something that would be pretty easy and have a timeline on it to be able to rectify.
What road is
Pocahontas and Dick Springs.
Right, yes, sir, and that project's wrapping up. We're probably 30 days from being substantially complete. Well, I'll ride out there and make sure that they have adequate egress and ingress into their
If you would, and see what you can do. I don't know whether they're parking equipment back there or doing anything that's inhibiting what they're doing. I know that's been a mess.
That's right, and they're working on that right there, the old 4-way stop right there. They're working in that area on the roundabout right now. So that's the issue that
So that's probably the issue.
Yes, sir.
And
So it's all
if you would go out there and make personal contact with them,
I will.
and tell them that you called with me, and I can tell them that I'm coming, but it may not be today.
All right, I can do that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's important we do that. If we go back to the domestic violence, the key to this, and I didn't mention, they didn't have much engagement with the school system. It's education changing expectations. And I'm an old school teacher, and we taught contact with the kids. The kids are some of your best sources of what goes on here. And when you get your school resource officer and you get your counselor involved, usually you can educate and either remove the situation. At least you have that opportunity to de-escalate it. And it also puts it on the books. And you'll know this, it puts it on the books where you can be aware of what's going on. And it shows up on their screen every time I have one. And it makes a big difference. So I'm an advocate for that too. District 4, Joe.
All right, we'll start off with finance. Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 7 items. These are our normal items: the unusual demand report, encumbrance report, purchasing exception report, and purchasing agenda report.
Do you have a motion on 1 through 7? Or is
Items
it
1 through 7.
motion to second? All in favor?
Aye.
Under Budget Management Office, we have our multiple staff development, our individual staff development, and the information items.
Move item 1.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. General services. Are we on?
You got the volume on, pal?
Trish, are you on?
So you got the volume up?
Good morning, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. General Services has 1 item on the agenda. It is Financial Services LLC brand services for ballistic window shades for the family court building.
I move it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You know, it's a shame we gotta start changing our courthouses that we care for so long and start turning them into bunkers and basically military type
Our cars too.
things, so that's,
Depending where you're driving.
You know, where you driving
I get Tyson a bulletproof
at?
car.
I'm gonna have to.
You turn on the windows anyway. All right, revenue.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have a contract for QM software to basically allow our tellers to call customers to the window in a more efficient, effective manner and track those wait times in line and at the window.
Move. Have a motion.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. We have one item under tax assessor office. It's a project to develop a GIS mapping workflows. Do I have a motion?
Move the item.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
And final, if the.
I move it, Joe.
What?
Second.
You move what?
I move it. Exception foundation.
I'm sorry, I'm stopped up, I can't hear very well. So what did you move?
I move the public service grant.
I move, second, all in favor?
Aye. Anything else? Good.
That concludes my report. I don't have no new business. I know it.
Mr. Bowles.
Yes, and I'd like to apologize to everybody here for being late.
We know where you were.
I have to tell you, if your heart's not broken by seeing these men in chairs, then you have no heart.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a prayer breakfast, but these men, you know, are past the point of prayer, helping, except to get them into heaven. Kerry Good, one of the most fierce football players I've ever seen in my life, and he's up there in a seat with something holding his head, and he can't talk. And Kerry Godfrey was a basketball player at Auburn when Auburn was really in its heyday, and he's got it too. One of them's had it for 5 years, one of them's had it for 10 years, ALS, and they have no hope. And it's $200,000 per family a year just to get them to get help and come back. But to see these good men just laying there waiting to die, and the most tragic thing for me, I don't know much about artificial intelligence, but other people do. And they had given a lot of speeches over the years and the decades, and they took the things that they had said and fed it through AI, and that's why we were late. It was the most heart-rending, heartbreaking thing that I've ever heard in my life. So, in any event, I don't like being late. I'm sorry, but you just couldn't get up and leave. Okay.
I had a mayor, Pinson, ALS, vibrant, hard-charging, great guy, ALS, and it was a slow decline over time to where it was just sad till he finally, it took him.
It's just heartbreaking. And, you know, I'm an Alabama football fan, so, I mean, I'm a Kerry Good fan, and to see this guy who knocked this courthouse over in his day if he wanted to, and now he's just laying there and he can't even move. They both have good families, they have good wives, and they're getting the best care they can get for something that's just awful. And we all think about it because it could be us, could be our families. Again, I'm sorry. Let me go on to District 5, information technology.
Place Reed's on.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Lord.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have one item for your consideration this morning. It's an existing contract amendment number 3 for our DC blocks for AT&T backup circuits connecting to our cloud services.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that's it, and that's District 5. Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Theo, do you have anything?
If one place is a worthy endeavor, I've been through that training, and things, if anybody's had the experience, you can former prosecutor having to get domestic violence victims from one place to the next, and for them to have those services all together to keep those folks going there. Because I just wanted to echo that Danny has done a great job of putting all those people together so they don't have to shepherd those victims from one place to another.
Is there another entity that also does what one place does, or is this
No.
pretty much focused?
We need to, y'all need to go. I've been up there. You just, it's just something else. You really need to go. Unbelievable.
Had Joe been up there? Joe Hug?
Yeah.
Where you beat him up?
Oh, well, that'll happen if he told me. Yeah, he was I promise you that.
Cal, anything at all?
I'd just like to thank the Finance Department and all the county directors for another clean audit. Great job, a lot of hard work. Do it again, one more year.
Do it again from now on.
We got
Then
another
we have a
one.
meeting after this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any commissioners?
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Pharmacy.
No.
Yeah, we'll just stay in for the audit.
We'll stay in here for the audit review. Did y'all bring it?
Yeah.
So we got that, and maybe we can get
Let's
that
just
done.
move on.
There being no further,
Go ahead. You got it.
being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Oh, Barnett reminded me, it was my fault. Bessemer Thursday, don't come here Thursday. We go down to the courthouse, but,
If you come here Thursday, you can probably ride with Theo.
yeah.
Or me.
It is